I am so happy that you're here today because we are diving into that popular reality show, Love is Blind, episode 8. Hi, I'm Dr. Pam, therapist and passionate couples counselor, and today I'm going to just dive right in, straight into the painful part of this episode. Today I am breaking down what happened between Monica and Stephan, and I'm also going to be diving into the topic of betrayal in relationships. What's really going on beneath the surface for Stephan? Did Monica overlook important red flags and why? And I'll also share my thoughts with you on a question that struck me after watching this episode. Why would Stephan choose to go on a show where he was likely to be unmasked, publicly shamed, and humiliated? I have some insights to share with you on that. So if you have watched my previous videos, you know that I've always had concerns about Stephan from day one. One of the biggest challenges at the start of a relationship when you're falling in love is that we often ignore or rationalize red flags. And this isn't about blaming Monica. It's about recognizing that when we're hurt, the most powerful thing that we can do is learn and grow from the experience. Monica began to see red flags at the party in Mexico. Remember this?
Like, there are women that are homewreckers out there that are like, I don't give a what your situation is. I want to suck your...
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What's happening?
There was a complete lack of boundaries. Monica's valid reaction, what is happening here, means that on some level, she is aware of the need for accountability, respect, and boundaries, which is essential for trust and healthy connections. I'm going to break down the betrayal in a moment, but first, I want to share with you an important issue.
I mean, I am perfectly okay with you treating me like a piece of meat. I think it's hot. I really do. You know, if I come in and you're just like, drop them, I'm like, let's go. Okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Not, yeah. But then when you started like having concerns about the wedding, it makes me be like, well, I'm not just gonna like bend over for my fiance who's
You're
now
right.
like not sure he wants to get married.
Yeah.
That's why we haven't had it, or else I like would have done it.
I'm a man. You know, the wind blows in the right direction and I'm like, I mean, let's be honest. There's so many different things you could put your inside. Pineapple, bowl of macaroni and cheese.
Bowl of macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Stephan talks about sex in a way that feels devoid of emotion, love, or intimacy. He focuses purely on physical pleasure. And it is important to have open conversations about sexual desires and preferences for physical pleasure. But this discussion shows a deeper issue. Stephan consistently lacks vulnerability and emotional intimacy in how he approaches these topics. What concerns me is the lack of connection and emotional depth in this conversation. As for Monica, it's clear that her discomfort grows as they continue talking. And while I didn't show you the entire clip, Stephan's comments eventually just go off the rails. And Monica looks at him and says, "Are you well?" And she also says, 2 minutes ago, I was having fun. So you can tell from her reactions that the lighthearted banter is starting to feel uncomfortable because he's crossing boundaries. She realizes that what initially felt playful has taken a turn into something that feels disturbing and disconnected. I'm not sure what Monica tells herself about these interactions that I just showed you, but honestly, they're pretty clear red flags. Okay, let's break down the betrayal.
Reading those text messages filled with fetishes and coming in, like, it's disgusting, Stephan.
You're right. You're right.
Stop acting like you're right. I know I'm right. Say something else. Why did you do this? Why did you propose? Why did you come here? Like, who are you?
I'm really glad that Mana asked Stephan to stop saying, "You're right." He says that every time when he was confronted about something, and it just comes across as a way to shut down the entire conversation. When someone continues to say you're right, it can leave the other person feeling stuck, like, okay, so now what? Where do we go from here? It stops the flow of dialogue and it makes it hard to address the real issue at hand.
I wasn't pretending. I did make a completely stupid mistake while being drunk at a sleep test with somebody who texted me.
You were doing it today, Stephen. You texted her today, and the really gross ones were today. So don't lie to my face. Were you guys texting today?
No.
You weren't texting today. Okay, let me see your phone.
I deleted the message. I honestly don't remember texting her today because I knew what I was doing, and if...
You didn't know what you were doing last night?
No, I did know what I was doing last night, and I know that it was a stupid decision, and it was coupled with the conversation that we had last night.
Don't you blame me at all.
I'm not.
For you
I'm not
being
blaming you. I'm blaming my actions on myself based on how I took our conversation. I'm taking full responsibility for this, which is why I'm getting my stuff and I'm leaving you alone.
This is really a tough situation to break down. First, just think about what it must be like for them to do this in front of cameras, knowing that the entire world is going to see it. That alone adds an enormous amount of pressure and vulnerability. And Monica is clearly hurt, feeling terribly betrayed and mourning the loss of her hopes and dreams for their relationship. And Stephan is also struggling, but in a very different way. He's dealing with shame, even if he doesn't realize it, because he's so disconnected from his emotions. And on top of that, he's facing the weight of public humiliation, which he's also likely unaware of for now. His avoidance runs deep, and it drives much of his behavior. And because of this, Stephan lies, not necessarily out of malicious intent, but because he's lived much of his life avoiding uncomfortable truths. He may think he's taking responsibility, but shame blocks him from genuinely doing so. Shame also prevents him from showing remorse or empathy or compassion for how deeply he has hurt Monica. Instead, he stays closed off, trapped in a cycle of avoidance and defensiveness. And when I say that Stephan is experiencing shame, it's not to excuse his behavior or give him a free pass. It's just to help explain what's happening underneath the surface. Understanding the role of shame here is crucial to make sense of why Stephan is acting the way that he is, and why Monica is left feeling so unsupported and hurt.
I'm almost embarrassed about how much of my heart I've given you. You were gonna shake my dad's hand this weekend? While you were planning on cheating? I don't understand. Ugh. Sorry. Ugh. You were laying in a sleep test bed, texting a girl while you are engaged that you want to do dirty kinks. It was disgusting.
You're right. I can't do anything to change this. I will live with this.
Great.
I truly am sorry for hurting you, for wasting your time, for coming on this show and doing this to you. I shouldn't have come on the show.
What a selfish thing to say. What a selfish piece of shit. You put a ring on my finger and now you shouldn't have been on the show?
Again, I'm glad that Monica called him out for being selfish. His apology fell completely flat, and while he said the words, "I'm sorry for hurting you," they were just that, words. There was no real feeling or sincerity behind them. This is where the shame plays a big role. Shame can block someone from accessing genuine empathy, making it impossible for them to truly connect with the pain that they've caused. And without that understanding, his apology lacks depth and meaning.
I'm it's just taking that away from me.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I definitely don't deserve much. I am sorry. I will leave you alone now.
Stephan isn't leaving for Monica. He's leaving for himself because his shame is so overwhelming. He might believe that he is stepping away to give her space, and yes, she likely does need space from him. But the truth is, his abrupt exit is driven by his inability to handle the consuming weight of his own shame. His comment, "I don't deserve much," is a direct reflection of that shame, and it reinforces his struggle to confront his actions in a meaningful way. It's important to emphasize that it's not Monica's job to feel for Stephan or to manage his emotions. It's his responsibility to take real accountability and work through his shame and focus on actively supporting her healing. That's the only way that they can process any of this in a meaningful way if they are to move forward in their relationship. Okay, here's the question that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to share with you my thoughts on why Stephan might have chosen to go on the show. I think that Stephan is unaware that he has challenges to the degree that he has and that he's not dealing with them. Maybe he's completely unaware, but he has a lot of blind spots and growth work that he needs to do. And I think that Stephan wants love in his life, but he doesn't know what it looks like to get it, and he doesn't know how to have a healthy relationship. I want to show you something, and then I'll say more about why he went on the show.
Are nice, yes, but I'm sure there are people out there that are like, if I do this, I'm gonna get laid, cool, and that is a great perk. I mean, let's be honest, if you do something right and you get rewarded with sex, like.
For Stephan, love and intimacy appear to be more transactional than genuine connection. So for example, when he created the flower class, the way that he talks about it, it doesn't seem like a heartfelt gesture, but more like a way to get something in return, like sex. This transactional way of thinking makes what could be a romantic expression feel more like a trade. His comment, if you do something right and you get rewarded with it with sex, that communicates that intimacy is treated as something to earn rather than a shared experience. And also, Stephan seems to view things in black and white, either good or bad. And when he created the flower class, he likely sees it as good. It's a good action. But when he makes mistakes, he views himself as bad, which is likely tied to his feelings of shame. This way of thinking makes it hard for Stephan to see himself or his actions with kindness or understanding. And without understanding, it's impossible to develop self-awareness or experience personal growth. From what we've also seen, Stephan may have self-destructive tendencies. Going on the show itself feels self-destructive, especially given the vulnerability and potential scrutiny involved with this show. And there seems to be a disconnect between his inner world and his outer world. Outwardly, he wants love and connection, which is likely why he went on the show, believing that he wants love, but never realizing that his actions may be driven by his inner world, which is fear of being alone, rather than genuine desire for connection, as well as fear of intimacy and feelings of inadequacy that erupt when he is in a relationship. I don't know if this is the case for Stephan, but there is a disconnect in him that he doesn't see. And while I don't want to assume too much, based on what we've observed though, it seems like Stephan uses sex as a way to cope, almost like a drug. This might come from an unresolved trauma or unmet emotional needs, where he's looking for a quick escape from deeper pain. Stephan might have hoped that the show would give him a chance to prove his worth and find a relationship, but his inner world and his inner struggles, like shame and using sex to cope, make it harder for him to succeed. It feels like he's caught in a pattern of wanting love, but unconsciously sabotaging himself along the way. I do hope that he does his growth work, and for Monica, I hope that she can heal from her pain and grow from this experience so that she can find a healthy and loving and fulfilling relationship that she truly desires and deserves. Okay, that's a wrap on episode 8. If you found today's tips helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share this with someone who you think might find some value in all the things that I've shared with you. And don't forget to come back for episode 9. Things continue to get more and more intense, and that means that there are more and more teachable moments. And if you want more tips and insights to strengthen your relationship, go ahead and subscribe. And please know that I really do appreciate your support, and I hope that my content supports you in return, because I am so committed to helping you get that deepened connection that you want and deserve. See you soon.